Kathy White will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Good evening, and welcome to the 1933rd regular meeting of the Livonia City Council. This is a voting meeting. Minutes of this meeting will be approved at the next regular meeting scheduled to be held on Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Vice President Barr.
Here.
Councilmember White.
Here.
Councilmember McCullough.
Present.
Councilmember Donovic.
Here.
Councilmember Jolly.
Present.
Councilmember Toy. Here. President McIntyre.
Here, and we have all 7 members of the council with us this evening. At this time, we have the presentation of the minutes from the 1932nd regular meeting of the City Council that was held on November 8th, 2021.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Any comments, corrections? Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on approval of the minutes of the November 8th meeting? Thank you.
Vice President Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy. Aye. President McIntyre.
Aye, and the minutes are approved unanimously. At this time, we go to the council. If there are any personal announcements, tributes, or recognitions to be made this evening. Councilmember Donovic.
Thank you, Madam President. As my colleague, Mr. McCullough, noticed, I walked in at 7 o'clock. Right on the dot, my little brother, he's 13, tonight he got his second stripe in his jiu-jitsu class over there at Gracie Barra and Livonia on Plymouth Road in Merriman. A little shout out to them. So congratulations to all of the students tonight that got another stripe or a different belt. And congratulations to my brother Johnny, 13. I know you're home watching this right now. Probably not, so thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to your brother, council member. Anyone else? All right, I have 2 announcements to make. We have a public hearing on December 6th, and this is to discuss 2 IFECs, Industrial Facilities Exemption Certificates. And we also have the council inauguration on Thursday, December 16th. Sarah's at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. Everyone is warmly invited. Then there'll be a reception in the City Hall lobby following the inauguration. Also, we'd like to wish our Director of Parks and Recreation and Community Resources, Ted Davis, a very happy birthday on November 26th. At this time, I have the pleasure and the privilege of introducing our department heads. Beginning on my left, our Director of City Engineering, Mr. Todd Zlinczyk. Next to Todd, Mark Taramina, our Director of Economic Development and Planning. Next to Mark, our Manager of the Council Office and Council Business, Sarah Kasperich. Continuing on my right, our Clerk, Susan Nash. Our Director of Governmental Affairs, Ms. LaShawn Thomas. Our City Attorney, Mr. Bernier. And we have the Mayor with us this evening. Good evening, Mayor. At this time, we go to audience communication. We set aside 30 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, and this is an opportunity when anyone who would like to communicate with the council on any item not in this evening's agenda has an opportunity to do so. You're given 3 minutes. We ask that your comments be relevant to the city, not personally attacking anyone, and kept professional. And at the 2-minute and 30-second mark, our parliamentarian, the Honorable Kathy White, will let you know that you have 30 seconds left. So when you reach the podium, if you would please give us your name and address so we know who is addressing us, and for the record, we would appreciate it. And if we don't get to everyone in the first half hour, then we continue, then we go back to audience communication at the end of the regular meeting. And I show that it is 7:05, so we have until 7:35 this evening. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Johan Kaywood. I'm from Sunnydale Street in Farmington Hills, Michigan. I want to start off with beginning to read a standard. This is a standard from the legal brief of the Michigan State Police in their Back to Basics section, December 2006. This is in regards to how juveniles are questioned by the police. and I quote, "The best practice is to include parents in the interview process. When possible, parents should be present, but minimally, police should seek parent permission to conduct an interview." Now, as I read that, and you've heard the standard, I want to go and tell you what happened on November 8th, before the city council had met. On November 8th, police did go to a school in Livonia. They went and they did interview 3 children. They did
This
not.
was, sir, excuse me, the Livonia Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They did not seek parental permission, and they did not even inform the administration of the school. When one of the children went and stated, "I don't want to answer any questions without my dad there," as he was instructed to do if he was ever asked by the police, the police went and waved their hands, and they said, "Oh, well, this is just voluntary. You don't have to talk to us, but, you know, it might be better if you do. You know, let us know your side of the story." Well, after going and hearing this and being very upset, because I am a veteran and spent 8 years defending this country and our Constitution, the idea that someone would just wave their hands at my son's Fifth Amendment rights upset me. So I went and I filed a police complaint. And this afternoon, I was contacted by the police, and they informed me that, "Sir, we understand you're upset. We have done our investigation." And I asked them, "Well, what's the bottom line?" Well, the bottom line is this: Livonia Police Department does not follow that same standard that I went and I read to you earlier. They have set a different and lower standard when it comes to children's rights. And quite frankly, I want to know why. And I'm here tonight hoping that you will ask that same question. Why are they setting a different standard than our beloved Michigan State Police? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone care to comment?
Thank you for caring. That was beautiful. My name is Jody White. I live on
Good
Houghton
evening.
Street.
Good evening.
And thank you. And I want to thank Brandon, for coming up and recognizing our blue shirts. We have been here, and the group that we represent is really our elderly, but a lot of us have been going for years to a lot of the events. So we really are a citizen task force for our elderly, who we love. And what I want to bring to you today is a story about Betty Hayes, and I want her home by Christmas. I'm a real estate agent under, and let me tell you, this is beautiful, Article 25, Public Act 299 of 1980. I got my license in '83. I was able to go to Betty Hayes' home and see the grandpad that was built for them, them being mom and dad. Dad has since passed, mom has been kidnapped. The people behind me will probably tell more to the story. What my concern is that this is for the attorneys in the room.
And you address the council
Through
president.
the
Thank you.
chair, excuse me, and with all due respect, I do apologize because I knew that.
No apologize, no
But
apology necessary.
through the chair, because I also did talk to Mr. Rob, because I know he is a veteran, he's always out there fighting. Realtors fight, we just fight differently. We don't fight with guns, we fight with a pen and a camera. So what's happening is we have an attorney sitting here in the city of Livonia that refuses to document anything. And as a realtor, you can't give value unless you have proof to people of what's going on. So I just want to read you a real quick piece of information. This is all public record. And I do have public record that I'd like to give to the group for you to read, to get yourself a little educated about the Betty Hayes case. Because we've been doing this for a couple years, and Betty needs to come home by Christmas. But this is what was written by an attorney. Perhaps you should suggest to your client, and the 3 names, to stop the immature yet very harmful Facebook postings about other family members and their directing of comments potentially destructive to their business and livelihoods, and concentrate on resolving the financial issues in this case in order to bring the matter to a close. Well, this is what's beautiful. This attorney out of Livonia that needs an ordinance, because if she's going to work in my city, this is my city. I've lived here since 1987. I bought my home. My husband's been here since 1960. We do real estate in this town. We get checked by reputation, by what's that other, So we would like the attorneys or the council of our city, Lieutenant Lister was also helping, to look into this particular attorney, who is a guardian
You
ad
have
litem.
30 seconds left.
Thank you. And she's a guardian ad litem, and she's not asking this woman about her accounting. She's not coming to the house. I came as a realtor. You should see the house that she was abducted from and brought to a niece who's a paralegal who worked in Wayne County Probate Court. That's where the problem lies. So we do have to investigate who's doing the harm. Like I said, I do have 2 documents. They are from one of the people here, and they are complaining to the judge. And you guys met Freddie Burton. He was here when he was helping with mental
Thank you.
illness. So I will hand this to you. You can, it's one for each. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We can
I
get
would like a
those.
study session, and I'll put my name here.
Yeah, thank you. Sarah, we'll get those, we can get those after the meeting. Thank you so much. We'll get them, we'll pick up in the office. Thank you. Thank you for the literature.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. Randy Hayes, 7647 Nancy Lee Drive, Shelby Township, Michigan. My mother was the one that was abducted. 93,663 people in Livonia. Almost 40,000 Livonia residents who are over the age of 50 must learn about the probate process and know how attorneys in this town are not doing their role as guardian ad litem. This position must be regulated at the local level to protect our elderly and our vulnerable. We trust our court system, we trust our election process, but we don't trust people. That is why we are asking the local people here in Livonia who have been elected to care about the people to create a new ordinance regarding how our families are being treated after a family member is abducted and placed in a different residence. Whether it's a nefarious family member, a group home, or a senior living community. We were told by the Michigan Attorney General listening to her in 2019 that practices and policies for this vital concern were to be put in place for our professional workers. They were to be mandated to investigate these travesties of our families. The investigation must start out with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help our God. Our family has contacted state troopers and a banking institution after an illegal document was produced by a nefarious family member who was trained as a paralegal in the probate system. She's also a notary, and she also notarized her own document, which is illegal. Instead of getting help by those institutional professionals, are being misled. Their claim is that abduction and attempted embezzlement is a civil issue for the courts to handle, where we believe it's a criminal issue, where we lack the proper enforcement measures to protect our elderly. Hence the reason why I'm here. The guardian ad litem works out of this city and has allowed my mother to be held captive away from her residence since May 1st, 2021. When a loved one has a mental deficiency, 6 months can do irreparable harm due to their confusion and memory loss. My mom has dementia since 2017. My father died from dementia. This attorney, who has on the court record using competent investigation tactics to create nonsensical methodology to hurt the process of probate court. She has not addressed the court with accurate and steadfast actions to begin criminal charges. We are requesting the city of Livonia to provide their prosecuting attorneys and a few police investigators to look into the probate files of attorney Melinda Cameron, who has an office in this city. She charges large fees, helps other people charge large fees.
30 seconds.
That is harming Michigan citizens. My sister Cindy should not have to pay $105,000 in legal fees to fight for my mother, to get my mother back where she rightfully belongs. Investigation started once a court order for Melinda Cameron to investigate the facts began back in May. She has never interviewed me, my brother, or been to my sister's house. My sister is being financially exploited by the city leaders, not by the city leaders, exploited, and the city leaders must get engaged. Thank you for listening and allowing us to.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
My first name is Patrick Mifsud, 6602 Parkway Circle, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And I'm also here for Betty Hayes.
I'm sorry, it was Patrick.
Mifsud, M-I-F-S-U-D.
Thank you.
And I've had some of my aunts and my mom staying at some nursing homes here in Livonia, and I'm obviously very concerned in this matter also. Melinda Cameron is the GAL in Livonia, and she's not doing her job, and we feel just like if children were getting abused, there'd be somebody watching them and making sure they're not getting abused. An elderly person is no different than a child. They obviously don't make the right decisions. I've seen it firsthand. My father-in-law lived with us, and I never knew what dementia was and never experienced it in my life, but I experienced it. And by experiencing it, I see that elderly people are even worse off than children, and they need to be protected. There's not enough protection for elderly, and it seems like nobody's taking them serious around the whole country. This is not just in Michigan, but this is going around the whole country. And obviously, we all have parents. Most of us, I'm sure, still have parents. And for whatever reason, their rights are not being protected. And this can happen to anyone. And I would have never thought this would be possible, what my family's going through right now. And there is no protection. It just seems like the law is not protecting them. So you have an attorney here, Miss Melinda Cameron, and she's intentionally creating isolation for my mother-in-law. And she's just not doing her job correctly. And we just want to make sure that the city of Livonia should be making sure that, I mean, you know, you have a lot of elderly people in your city, and there should be some protection. Obviously, some people from Livonia would be thinking, hey, she's a great attorney, or she's an attorney in Livonia, she's representing Livonia, and let's use her. But we want somehow the city of Livonia to have some type of looking at these people to make sure they're doing their job properly, to be able to protect the elderly during their most needed time in life. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to address the council on this matter? Pardon me?
There was somebody coming up, I
Yeah.
just wanted you to know.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good evening. My name is Christina Bood, and I'm a retired Detroit teacher of 40 years. And I have also been substituting in the Roseville School District, worked at Kuman Learning Center, and I am an elder abuse activist as a victim as well from Oakland County, where I saw the same thing happened. It's not just going to happen here in Livonia. You're surrounded. It's happening everywhere, in every district, every city, every county of this state. Because I followed the Elder Abuse Task Force after the AG created it, after we went up there with 2,300 investigated cases to show her how it is a systemic issue going on all over the state. And I was at every city. Jody was there were other people there to hear people coming out of the woodwork saying this too is our main concern for elder abuse, is that it's happening in the courts. This is bigger than the Roman priest scandal. It is bigger than the Dr. Nasser. It is huge. And we are aware that it's huge because we've been traveling all over the state, listening and listening and listening. Of course, we're doing something about it. The elected officials are not doing anything about it, and that is why it still exists. That is why people are dying. My mother is dead, and the reason was because I confronted the appointed public administrator that the judge gave guardianship to after I went to court to follow the statute. I wasn't even allowed to talk. That's how criminal this is. I was silenced, and he was turned over to this guy that had a rap sheet this long. It is negligent homicide for that judge to turn my mother for guardianship over to this attorney with that type of background.
Okay,
She not-
I would just, ask you to think about your language, and accusing a judge of negligent homicide is quite inflammatory.
Well, she's dead, and she didn't follow the law. So I'll refrain from that, but she is going to be charged with it, okay? So there's 2,300 cases that were investigated and brought up to the Attorney General's office, and I was there with the victims and the investigative journalists. And certain people that could have done something about it didn't even bother to show up because they want to
30
ignore this
seconds,
crime.
please.
They want to ignore it. we saved one victim who was in court crying in a wheelchair, and an attorney was there asking her all kinds of questions about her bank account. I said, ma'am, do you need help? She said, yes, I do. They came into my house, just like the Netflix movie I Care a Lot. That is exactly what's going on in these counties. And they kidnapped me. She broke into my house.
Your time is up. You may request additional time if you would like it.
Okay, well, just 30 seconds. to
Well,
wind it
we
up.
need, just a minute. I need to ask the,
Yeah, let her go ahead for 30 seconds.
does anyone object?
I'll support that.
Okay.
It was a
No
shocking
objections?
movie
Okay.
that Hollywood made, I Care a Lot, but it is true, and we can all verify it. I just want to say that you have to do something about it, or they'll be coming to your door, to your parents, and knocking. I'm a baby boomer. Somebody's going to quote how many 70-year-olds there are in Livonia here. I'm 70, and I'm afraid they're going to come after me at some point. We're the baby boomers, but we're not going to sit back and allow this to happen and be taken away so someone can take $40,000 like they
That-
did from my mother.
That's your 30 seconds.
And then
That's
she
your
ended
30
up
seconds.
missing
Thank you.
and then dead.
We're
Missing.
sorry. Thank you for your comments and for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, if you could just be ready to go when the next one.
I'm ready to go.
Great. Good evening.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tina Lindsay. I'm a resident at 31440 Myrna Street in Livonia. I've been a resident here since 1995. I started high school here. My parents brought me here to have a better life. They like the community. And little did I know that I would fall into this trap of this guardianship thing when my father took a fall in our driveway of 2017, January, and he was taken to St. Mary's Hospital. And from there, he was targeted by a worker there who filed a fraudulent petition against my father. She came to our home and pushed me to get into our home. Here's my father, William Necker. I knew that something was wrong when she demanded bank statements and everything, and I'm crying to her, asking her, why is she doing this to me? She's telling me if I called the Livonia Police Department, she's going to have my father come removed by a sheriff's department. I knew something was wrong. I seriously wanted to hit her because I'm thinking, how could this happen to me? I felt safe in my community. I've done things without the police department knowing I've helped them. Like, we used to have a pager store, Diamond Communications. It was broken into. At 15, I walked into high school, found out who it was, and turned them in. They were arrested and put in jail. I've done multiple things like that, even locking up my own uncle, who is a career criminal. Now, I'm proud to say that I'm an investigator working on getting my license, and it's come to my attention, there's tons of victims all over the 83 counties that are getting victimized by these attorneys and public officials, judges as well, allowing this, fleecing them of everything that they own, their homes. Our home, we own $1 million home in Livonia here. We live in one of the largest homes. It's been on the Christmas walk. I couldn't even do that this year because I didn't feel safe to have my home open to people. And I would like to be able to, do this for my community. But we have some work to do, and right now I'm after indictments on multiple people, the women that tried taking my father. Little did they know, as soon as she left, I hired a private investigator, went to the FBI. I collected a bunch of evidence. I found an attorney to represent me, Greg Roll, who has another client of mine. He told me, basically, you know what you know, prove it. The very next day, I had a victim right with a full case.
30 seconds,
I know.
Ms. Lindsay.
Long story short, there is a lawsuit coming up. We have multiple people being harmed here. Melinda Cameron is an attorney who is not doing things legally here in this city. And I fully intend through my investigative work now to go after these individuals. I hope that I can have your support. Most people know me on Facebook by Christina Brakovich. I have about 24,000 followers right now. I've also teamed up with Britney Spears' Project Rose. I traveled to LA in September, and I'm meeting with national advocates to try to combat this issue, and I'm hoping to have your support.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
If I may, I don't want to start dialogue, obviously, but I do want to say that we at least I do, appreciate you coming forward. I've been involved in some of this guardianship kind of issues, along with the trafficking stuff I do, and much of it is very real. I'm not so sure that at the local level, there's a whole lot we can do in that regard. But I commend you for being active and being involved, and I would certainly keep on the state of Michigan, and some of you have done that, and keep on with that kind of venue, because I think that's very important. Nobody should be above the law, and some of that is going on, as we have heard about it, and I work with about 4 different senators on this very issue and others, so I just want to say thank you for coming in tonight, and hopefully, I wish you good luck.
Thank you, Councilmember Toy. Is there anyone else who would like to address council on this issue? Right. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening on any item? We've got about 8 minutes left. All right. Calling once, twice. Last call for audience communications. All right, thank you to everyone who came in to communicate with the council this evening. We appreciate it. This time, we go to reports from the mayor and other city officials. We have one item. We have a communication from the Department of Finance dated November 1st, 2021, forwarding various financial statements of the city of Livonia for the month ending September 30th, 2021, as respectfully suggested that the item listed above be received and placed on file for the information of the council. At this time, we go to the consent agenda. Items 1 through 11 are listed on the consent agenda. They're voted on as one item. It doesn't mean that they're any less important than other items on the agenda, but rather that when we had our study meeting, they were determined not to be controversial in nature. Does anyone from the audience wish to comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All right. Did that backwards. Yeah. Would you please take the vote, Madam Clerk?
Vice President Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the consent agenda is approved unanimously by all seven members of the council. We move on with unfinished business, beginning with item number 12. This is a waiver petition. It comes from the Planning Commission regarding petition 2021-08-02-16 submitted by Melody Hastings requesting to operate a daycare nursery, Kid Venture Child Care Center at 10531 Farmington Road, located on the west side of Farmington Road between Orange Lawn Avenue and Plymouth Road in the northeast quarter of Section 33.
President, I'll offer an approving.
Support.
Any discussion? Anyone from the audience wish to comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on approval of the waiver petition?
Vice President Barr.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic.
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly.
Aye.
Councilmember Toy.
Aye.
President McIntyre.
Aye, and the waiver petition is approved. Item number 13 is a signed petition. This too comes from the Planning Commission regarding petition 2021-08-SN-02 submitted by Stark Road Holdings LLC on behalf of the Livonia Athletic District, LAD, requesting to install multiple wall signs to the multipurpose recreational facility at 14255 Stark Road, located on the west side of Stark Road between Schoolcraft Road and Linden Avenue in the southeast quarter of Section 21. Council?
I'll offer an approving, Madam President.
I'll support.
Support. Is there any discussion? All right. Anyone from the audience? Seeing none?
Vice President Barr.
No.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough.
Just a quick point of clarification. I think
I'm sorry.
we should be
picking an A or an B.
Pardon me?
Is this the one in A or C?
If I may, I apologize.
It's a typo. I think there's just an A and B.
I think there were two approving resolutions. One was going to allow
I'm
for
sorry.
a larger sign.
Yes.
And so if we could just get clarification on whether it's A or C.
Madam President,
Vice President Barr.
I've got the packet in front of me here, and I only see an approving and a denying. It says A, B, and A at the top, but we only have detail for the approving and denying, so I figured that's all we had available to us. So, I don't know if,
That's all I had, that's all I had in my packet too.
I'm going from memory from the meeting, and I believe it was Councilmember McCullough who offered an alternate approving resolution that would allow for the 68 square foot sign, LED sign.
Okay.
So it's whether or not it's,
just point of order. I just have a question. We're in the middle of a vote right now, and I agree we need to figure this out, but through the chair of the law, is there something we need to be doing right now to?
No, it's my understanding that the only thing we had up was the 68 square foot sign, and that was Resolution A, which was the motion by Mr. McCullough.
We're okay talking about this right now, even though we're in the middle of voting?
We should be voting on it, but
Or do we just go back?
Okay, Madam President, my recollection matches what the attorney said. When I was studying our notes from last week, today, Councilman McCullough did ask for that, and last week, Councilman Jolly agreed to modify his approving resolution to include that, is what my understanding was. So I think we just have an approving.
that's correct, and that's the reason we did it with the one resolution, actually two, either approving or denying with the 68 square foot.
Okay, so we had,
Yes. That's on.
we're in the middle of the vote, right? So you were a no, and White was a yes. So if you continue, please.
Just for clarification, it's Resolution A, correct?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember McCullough?
Yes.
Councilmember Donovic?
Yes.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Councilmember Toy?
Yes.
President McIntyre?
No, and the motion carries, and the signed petition is approved, so it's approving for option A, correct? Yep, okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving along with new business, item 14 is a request for additional appropriation expenditure. This comes to us from the Engineering Division for the 2021 Concrete Road Maintenance Selective Slab Program, Contract 21J, to close out the contract with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions LLC, and an additional amount not to exceed $130,895.02, and the new total not to exceed amount of $8,444,815.77, and this was Council Resolution 105-21.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Anyone from the audience? All right. Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on the request for additional appropriation expenditure?
Vice President Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Councilmember Toy?
Aye.
President McIntyre?
Aye, and the motion carries, and the additional appropriation expenditure approved. Item number 15 is a request for an additional appropriation expenditure. This too comes to us from the Engineering Division regarding construction engineering services for the 2021 Concrete Road Maintenance / Selective Slab Program. This is Contract 21J to close out the contract with Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated, AEW, in an additional amount not to exceed $16,362, and the new total not to exceed the total amount of $121,964. This is Council Resolution 106-21.
I'll offer an approving.
Support.
Support from Toy. Any discussion? And from the audience? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the vote on this motion?
Vice President Barr?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember McCullough?
Aye.
Councilmember Donovic?
Aye.
Councilmember Jolly?
Aye.
Councilmember Toy?
Aye.
President McIntyre?
Aye, and the motion carries, and the additional appropriation and expenditure are approved.
Thank you.
All right, this time we go back to the audience. If anyone in the audience would like to communicate with the council on any item not in this evening's agenda. Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, Council President McIntyre. Thank you for the time tonight. I just want to end this meeting with a note of thanks, seeing as we're approaching the Thanksgiving season. I want to spend a few minutes updating you on two things. First, the work of our Livonia Fire Department, and second, just a little bit about where we're at with COVID. And we find tonight that these two items are actually closely related. As you know, our fire department is celebrating its 80th anniversary this year, and it's really a rather remarkable year for them to be celebrating their 80th anniversary because so much of the work that is going to, I believe, be signature to their contribution to this community has happened during the course of this year. Some of the best work that they've done over the course of the past 8 decades has actually happened this year when we look at the work that they've done helping us get through this pandemic. You know, they've been instrumental in keeping all of us safe, and they've administered more than 10,000 vaccines to Livonia residents, with 1 out of every 5 people receiving their vaccine in Livonia receiving it from somebody from the Livonia Fire Department. Additionally, what I really what's important for you to know that's been new about this is that we've continued the work of Together Livonia Cares, and our Livonia Fire Department has been back into our senior living facilities in the city of Livonia and gone back to administer the booster shots. And they've now completed, as of last week, going to all of our our independent living facilities in the city as well. Additionally, last Thursday and Friday, they administered another 150 booster shots and vaccines to city employees, all in an effort to keep everybody safe as we approach the holiday season. So I'm incredibly honored tonight to be able to share that news with you. You know, it's just a continued effort and leadership through our fire department, and I just wanted to make you aware of the important work that they're doing. And that kind of work doesn't happen unless you're able to have a fully staffed fire department. So I want to thank each of you tonight. I know that you all signed off on a contract that really is a big part of how we're able to incentivize working in our fire department. It's a big part of how we're able to attract and retain quality employees both in the fire department and in the police department. But tonight you took an important vote on the fire contract. So I wanted to be sure to thank you for that. You know, we're heading into the holiday season, and unfortunately, we find ourselves in the state of Michigan with our 4th surge. And we find ourselves with a 7-day moving average of over 7,500 cases in the state of Michigan. That puts us ahead of our record for the entire pandemic in the state. So locally, we're seeing where that surge is impacting us as well. Our fire department, again, reports an increased number of runs to St. Mary Mercy Hospital. Their numbers are up. They have 66 people right now in the hospital with COVID. That is their highest number since we began with the pandemic. They're seeing a major increase in the number of patients in the hospital. So as we head into the holiday season, it's important that we take just a minute and think about what each one of us can do and needs to do in order to make sure that we stay safe, our employees stay safe, our families stay safe, and that's a large part of what the fire department did when they went out and made sure to vaccinate our senior citizens in the independent living facilities and made sure to vaccinate those city employees and their families that wanted to be vaccinated. It was all about making sure that we're getting ready for the holidays. Thanksgiving is this week, but we've got Christmas right around the corner as well. So we are encouraging people to continue to get vaccinated. We are encouraging people that when they're in public environments to go back to wearing their masks, making sure that you're using the PPE, the hand sanitizers, keeping those social distances. Again, we're in that holiday season where everybody wants to hug and get close, but we're just not there yet. So I wanted to just take a second tonight to let you know how grateful I am for the work that our fire department is doing to keep our community safe. I know you join me in sharing that gratitude, but I also wanted to take a moment to thank each of you for your support of them and their contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Toy.
I just want to thank all of us, but I also want to thank the mayor for all her efforts she's done Entering into a new job and getting hit with a pandemic is not something you kind of anticipate, and you choke me up a little bit, because young man who I used to change his diapers is right now struggling in the hospital with double pneumonia. So I was asked by his mother to give prayers. So it's hitting everyone, and we've got to be so cautious. We really do. Some people think, you don't want to mandate things, you don't want to scare people, but it's real. And when it gets as close to home, I know I've had the COVID and had the infusion, and it's not a pleasant thing. So thank you, Mayor, for all your efforts, and everyone in this room that has been vaccinated and adheres to the protocols, if you will. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mayor, may I ask a question? And thank you for the update tonight. And we all share the appreciation of the fantastic job our fire department has done under your leadership of addressing COVID. So we have a number of upcoming holiday events in the city. Are we contemplating or announcing any changes to any of the protocols or formats of those events at this time?
No, not until there are any changes that have been mandated by the CDC. We're closely following the CDC guidelines, but so far they are making recommendations, and we are promoting those recommendations, which is, wear your mask, get your vaccine, and stay within 6 feet of each other. But until there's anything more conclusive coming out of the CDC, that's the posture.
Thank you very much.
Good question.
All right, anyone else like to communicate with this council? Seeing none,
Motion to adjourn.
we have a motion adjourned from Councilmember Toy,
Support?
support from Councilmember McCullough. If there are no objections, we can show 7, and we are adjourned, and we will reconvene at 8 p.m. for the study.